Obviously, we didn't play to our standard, which comes down to penalties and ball security. Number one most important thing in the return game is that we secure the ball and get the ball back to the offense, which we did not do on the second kickoff return rep. We had a lot of missed opportunities as a whole as a kickoff return unit. Throughout the year, we've been a top five kickoff return unit in the NFL. We are still the second best based on average kickoff return unit in the NFL, and we did not play to that standard or what we're capable of doing in the game. The second kickoff return rep, we didn't do a good job of following the off returner and cutting it back sooner. We took it into traffic. We're too loose with the ball. Obviously, Amir fumbled the ball. We're down Gould and Doolan. We've got to be able to step up, continue to play at that high standard, which we have done. Amir's done a great job with his opportunities throughout the year, but obviously did not take care of business and do his job there. We took him out after that rep for Tyler Goodson. We had two other reps where we got the ball to the 35-yard line, but the off returner and both of those reps didn't do a good enough job securing his block, and our returner didn't do a good enough job of following the off returner's block. I really believe that both of those opportunities should have gotten out to the 50-yard line. And we had some really good opportunities to be able to do that we've got to execute better on. We had a 58-yard return that got called back for a penalty. We had another return called back for another penalty. We've just got to make sure we're playing smart and playing penalty-free football. There's nothing that kills momentum and field position more than penalties. It's unacceptable. We've got to just play better. Kickoff unit, again, we've been a top 10 unit throughout the NFL. We're one of 8 teams in the NFL that haven't given up a return of over 40 yards, but we can't allow a return to the 37-yard line at the end of the Seahawks game. We can't allow a return at the end of half to the 40-yard line in this past game. Both of those situations are unacceptable. We had one player who squeezed too far inside and got out of his lane, which created some error. We can't do that against Sky Moore, who's an elite level returner, to give him any of that space. Everybody's got to build a wall to do their job and secure tackles. We had too many instances of guys leaving their feet, not keeping their feet to finish tackling, which is not something that we've done in the past. And we certainly will get that cleaned up. Punt team had 2 reps. Rigo did a great job again. He had a 46.5-yard net. Currently, he's sitting number 2 in the NFL in net punt, which I think the net statistics are the most important statistics. If we continue to do our business as a punt team, obviously we're going to have to step up with some guys being injured and things. But if we continue to do what we've been doing as a punt team these last 2 games, we'll shatter the Colts franchise record for net punt, which Rigo tied 2 years ago. Grupe did another good job of making all of his kicks. He's been kicking well, both in practice, pregame, and during the game. We've got to continue to finish that thing out. You kind of look at a number of different things, like kickoff wise. We've had 82 kickoffs this year where our opponents returned the ball compared to 13 last year. We forced returns on 91.1% of kickoffs this year, which is number 1 in the NFL. I think there are a lot of things that the guys have done well that are overshadowed by obviously some really bad plays, and we can't allow those highs and lows to go against us to hurt us in the game.
Kevin, go ahead.
Mace, did you think Rigo was going to be a Pro Bowler?
I certainly think based on when you look at his punt average being top 10 in the NFL and him being number 2 in net punt, that he certainly is deserving of that honor. Net punts really shows hey, you're hitting the ball with great hang time. That's allowing the coverage to prevent return yards. We've been top 5 in the NFL in opponent punt return yard average as well. So I definitely think he was certainly deserving of that. There's a lot of really good punters and big name punters certainly in this league, but Rigo's been, operating at a very high level.
And then obviously the ball hit the crossbar, but it didn't look like you put anybody back there for the field goal. Was there any thought to that, or what's kind of the thought process in that?
No, that certainly is a situation that's on me that we should have had a returner back there. It happened very fast in that situation where we didn't think that they were going to kick a field goal from that distance. He hadn't shown, his career long was 59 yards, and he was much shorter than that distance in pregame. When it happened and we got the substitutions out there, we weren't able to sub the returner out and get that communicated properly in a quick amount of time, which is on me.
Joel.
Ball security is obviously an emphasis for all portions of the ball, but is that something that falls under special teams, or does that fall under offensive, in terms of covering up the ball and not fumbling? Is that whose primary responsibility is that with the staff?
Well, the unique thing about special teams is we teach all fundamentals to the entire team through special teams. That's how we really can develop, good overall football players. We teach ball security and special teams the exact same. The offense teaches ball security. That's incorporated throughout all of our ball security circuits and drills, both from offense to special teams. So, I mean, it's an entire team. We're teaching it the same on special teams that they are on offense.
Chap.
Yeah, Mace, thanks for doing this. At any level, are you surprised by Grupe? I mean, he struggled for whatever reasons with the Saints, and except for maybe the one kickoff in Seattle, I mean, anything surprise you at all? He's not missed.
Certainly it's a pleasant surprise when somebody who was, as he said, snowballed, somebody who was maybe not performing to their talent level is then able to quickly recover and get their confidence and get back to being hot. That can be a pleasant surprise. I had a good feeling that I thought, as we've kind of discussed here before, that he had the ability to do that based on his mental makeup and his talent. And I thought we could put him in a situation that would allow him to be successful. You never know exactly, though, when you're making these situations, after the bye week late in the season, how exactly everybody's going to gel and all that's going to work. But it certainly took off, and those guys have worked really well together.
You talked about how Rigo's on pace maybe to break the franchise record with net, and Grupe has already broken the franchise record for a long field goal. I mean, I don't know what more you can ask from him from just a plain kicking standpoint.
We couldn't ask anything more from Grupe coming in when he has making all of his kicks and looking really smooth both on and off the field. He fits in really well with the guys. He's a good teammate. He's great to have around.
Appreciate it.